Hello and welcome to Happy Foot Sad Foot, the live post-game show for, it's been a while since I've gotten to say it, a huge MLS in-season victory for LAFC. I'm Darren Miller.
I'm Vince LaRosa of the only post-game show that gets asked to do a watch-along and wins them, baby. Right.
The HaFoSafo Curse, Watchalong Curse is broken officially.
Yep.
Arguably before, definitively now.
You know who I'd like to thank? Gene Smart.
Travis. Oh,
no,
Gene
I mean,
Smart.
if it wasn't for her hosting Saturday Night Live tonight.
Thank you, Gene Smart.
And
we have so much to thank her for, and this is now one of them.
Yeah, honorable mention to Jelly Roll, just because I like saying
that.
Jelly
Roll. Man, I've been corporate America cannot get enough Jelly Roll. He's in everything.
I don't think I've heard a single minute of his music.
Me neither, but I certainly see his face a lot.
Yeah, he's everywhere though.
Anyway, LAFC just destroyed. I'm going to say destroyed Cincinnati in Cincinnati. A giant has been slain tonight.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they were second. They're second. They're second in the East. They did have a rough spot, but they still held on to second in the East. Like, that's a good team.
That's a great team. Yeah. And not only do we beat Cincy and Cincy, we beat Cincy and Cincy with a rotated squad that it wasn't used to playing together.
Mm-hmm.
Hungover from celebrating from U.S. Open Cup, which, by the way, it's been we haven't mentioned it yet. I don't know if everybody's aware, and if you're aware, if you haven't thought about it in the last 10 seconds or so, we are U.S. Open Cup champions.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth saying. I have the old
U.S. Open
background
Cup champions of this year.
Vince, you vamp while I fix the background.
Oh, you're fixing the background? Oh no, I just saw it now.
Yeah, it still says Cincinnati in the back.
Yeah, I mean, this game's very interesting for a lot of reasons. I think a lot of people that are not LAFC fans, just by way of not being LAFC fans, will think that LAFC didn't deserve to win this game. But we saw,
why do you say that?
Well, one, they hate us because they ain't us.
Oh, sure.
But two, I think there definitely, obviously, there was a surge towards the end for Cincy. And look, that was probably always going to happen. They're a good team. They're at home. But to your point about, like, when you said destroyed, like, you're not totally wrong. There was like moments where LAFC was legitimately just passing Cincy off the field and winning every single ball, going hard into challenges, winning duels. And we said going into it, you and I, on the watch along that we did, which, by the way, we did a lot. We did a watch along with LAFC. Did you guys see it?
Yeah. If anybody joined us for that and is also joining us for this, thank you. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we said in the watch along, we were like, look, it's a rotated team, so what are they going to have to do? And I said, and you agreed with me, it was like, I think that they're just going to have to win their battles. Like, just have some energy, win your battles, and then like let the things fall where they may. And they went beyond that. There was some nice link up play. There was some really just concerted movements where like everyone was running off the ball and people knew where people were going to be. Like, there's times this season where the starting 11, like the true starting 11, did not play and pass and play in a fluid way similar to the team played tonight. And that's saying a lot. Like, these guys put in a shift, but they were also individually brilliant and they understood what they needed to do and they understood their roles. I think that's the biggest part. Like, they knew that, like, okay, David Martinez, he's probably going to come short, and Olivera, he's really going to run that sideline, and I'm going to have an outlet there. Like, they just understood where they were supposed to be. And for long periods of time, like, they looked head and shoulders better than the second place team in the Eastern Conference playing their best 11. That's a big deal.
That's huge. And, we saw a solid victory in the U.S. Open Cup final, which, by the way, we won the U.S. Open Cup final. We're U.S. Open Cup champions.
Yeah.
But I don't know how long it's been since we've seen that in MLS play. It's been a bit.
Well, let me, I'm on the MLS website. Let me see if I can go to the form guide and tell you. I'm pretty sure it was 5 games that LAFC had not won. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games LAFC was winless in league play. The last league win, which, I mean, now that I look at it, makes complete sense. 3-0 at Seattle, because we just own Seattle.
Right, because we also beat Seattle.
Yeah, we just own Seattle.
Interesting. It's interesting for how down on the team we've been. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Tim Morgan in the chat says, hands down, the best performance front to back in quite some time. Wow. So the best one of the year, no doubt. Martinez was electric. O'Brien was incredible. Campos also excellent.
Campos was incredible.
Campos
was so
continuing.
good.
He's got a
So
streak
good.
going.
Yeah, so good.
That's
I
a
mean,
wave.
and we touched on it briefly in the broadcast, but it was like he obviously scores that goal. I don't know if we all knew he had it in him to score that goal. I know he's a pretty prolific player going forward, but tonight was his 1v1 defending, and I don't think we knew he had that in him. It was Acosta at times, dominated Acosta. It was Oriana at times. He got it, Oriana. Like, he was perfect 1v1 defending. And I guarantee you there were some moments where Cincy was like, this is exactly what we want. 1v1 with Campos with a ton of space. And he took care of business.
That was great. And yeah, I mean, there were guys on that team that I expected to be very scared when they were involved in plays and had the ball. And I was here and there, but not nearly as much as I expected to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of good defending. People are mentioning that Segura was good defending. There was a lot of good. Like, you're not super stoked that they had to do a lot of last ditch defending, but they were pretty good last ditch defending. Like, the only goal that they score is Kai Kamara heading a ball on a corner, on a broken down corner.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, that was an own goal. I don't know if it went down as an own goal. Maybe it was just their deflection, but like, they didn't even really score on us.
Right.
Not bad.
I just can't believe that for once, Darren, you didn't have a bet that was like, there will be a goal that is Lloris.
I've made that exact bet before.
You have?
Actually, I won on that bet.
Did you?
The last time that happened, that was my bet.
Okay. Well,
what were our bets this time?
Maybe we should. I don't know. I know mine was pretty outlandish. I can't remember.
I don't know. Someone else, if you
look
remember.
it up. Check the tape.
All right. Should we go to some callers?
Can we? I was actually gonna say, can you bring on some callers that I've been talking
our own voices
for like 100 minutes straight, and I want to stop. So please bring somebody on.
LAFC Luke is on a post-game walk. Let's hear from him. LAFC
Hey
Luke,
guys.
what's happening?
Now here's why that victory feels so sweet, is because that could be the MLS Cup final. Because that's the number 2 team in the East versus currently, but we'll see how things land at the end of the night, the number 2 team in the West. Like, that could be.
Yeah, I would say not outlandish enough for a bet it and forget it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I feel good about that. I'm happy about that. It started to feel a little bit when we were up 1-0 at half, like, oh God, are we doing another one of these Galaxy things again? And then when they scored and leveled, it was like, oh shit, we're doing it again.
Mm-hmm.
And Steve made 3 subs when he had the next chance to make subs after that goal. And it changed the composure just long enough for Denny to get in there and thread the needle and put us back up. So I'm feeling good about that. That was a good game. That was a good win. That was a solid win. That was not just because we were better players. It's because we had a better game plan.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about it all through that first half. I was like, wow, we're winning the possession battle. Like, we're dominating the ball. I don't know if Cincy imagined that I thought they thought LAFC was going to come out and just try to play against the ball and just try to be direct the whole time. But then they decided to thread some passes, and they just were not ready for it.
Yeah, for everybody who's been saying Dolo out, I hope you can appreciate what happened in this match, because
yeah,
that was I don't mean to say it's not necessarily like the players executed, and that was kind of the whole point that I feel like people have been making, is like the reason why it's not necessarily all his credit this time and not necessarily all his fault last time is because, like, people did their jobs really well today.
So I'm just going to say, when the schedule came out, I circled this one because I figured if there's going to be a game that tests us, it's going to be this. It's going to be going to Cincinnati toward the end of the season. And then when we had that Open Cup final with 120 minutes on Wednesday night, I was like, oh, shit. But, like, to come out of that and to come out with a win, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any sad foots tonight?
Sadfoot.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah. What are you doing, Kai? What are you doing? What are you
Oh,
doing
sure.
heading the ball when it's like,
Yeah.
Lloris was lined up to just catch that one. Like he was right
Mhm.
there, and then Kai headed it, and it just like popped over him.
It's what he's programmed to do.
Here's the thing. I feel bad coming up with a sad foot because I feel like we had so many guys who had to come in there and do something different than they're used to doing, and they did it really well. And so I don't really want to give anyone a knock because they understood the assignment and they came in and they executed. So I don't really want to do any sad feet, honestly. But I get it.
You don't have to.
That's fair. We just throw it out there. You could take it or leave it.
All right. So I'm happy,
Thank you.
and that's all I got to say.
Good. Thank you for joining us.
We're glad you're happy.
Have a great night. You've got a whole night ahead of you. Well, keep hanging.
All right,
with us.
guys.
Yeah, I mean, keep watching the show, but then go out and enjoy.
I'm
it.
going to keep watching. I'm going to keep watching. But,
All right.
That's right.
But
That's my happy
This is a good night. This is a good night for us.
Good.
All right. Come back soon. Take care. All right. That was LAFC Luke. Is it time to bring on the heel of the foot, Jeff Talk?
He
Or should
looks
we
like
make him
he
wait?
looks like a Sith Lord right now with
He
his
does.
hood and the
Yeah.
lighting. No, leave it on.
Yeah, leave it on.
Leave it on.
All right. These days I feel like you never know what we're gonna get with Jeff Talk.
And we don't have Travis as a buffer because Travis just goes full
He really goes for it.
he goes 0 to 11 real quick, but we'll try it.
Yeah. Okay.
Just know, Jeff, we're worn down. We've been
No one
talking
asked
a lot,
for it.
so
No one wants it.
We've
But
got-
here he is anyway. Heel
Yeah.
of the foot, Jeff Talk. Welcome back to the show.
What a great intro, Darren. It's a shocker you're not doing more live stuff,
I am doing more live stuff. We just did a live watch along.
yeah, technically we are doing more
We're
live
doing
stuff.
more live stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Literally,
Yeah.
literally,
I watched it.
Yeah.
I watched most.
Oh, thank you.
Hard to sign up for LAFC Gold and figure out where to watch that thing. I'll say that.
Not our fault. Not our fault. Not our problem.
You know what, though, Vince? They put you on trial for how the team plays. I'm going to put you on trial for how hard it is.
That's fair.
You know what I
Okay,
mean?
fair.
You need to defend this, and you need to get
You know what?
really grumpy about it, and
Vince-
not like how mad you're getting, but you're getting real mad about it. You know what I mean? As much of that
Yeah.
as you can do would be great. Also, speaking of Star Wars and Sith Lords, let's all acknowledge that Vince has an exploded Death Star above his head right now. What kind of lamp is that?
So
Whoa.
can I because I've seen people point it out. So this is like an IKEA lamp, and it does do that, like it expands like this, but it's normally just like a white, plain, boring white lamp. And my incredible partner, who's an artist, she was like, I'm gonna make it a fucking disco ball. So she actually glued on the disco pattern to give it like a disco ball pattern, and that's why it looks the way it does. And it's way cooler because when she first bought it, I was like, do we have to put that up? She's like, don't worry, I'm gonna make it cool. So it is.
Wow.
I like it.
Well, now I feel bad. I'm going after your girl, Vince. I apologize.
No, you're not really going after it. I will say this. It doesn't do a very good job actually lighting anything, which is why I never turn it on. It does. But it looks cool. But it looks
It does
cool.
look cool.
In person,
Not a
I'll tell
Death
you, it
Star.
looks way cooler in person. It closes too. So it opens and closes.
Oh, wow.
Sorry. I buried the lead there.
You buried
can
the
actually
lead.
open it. You can make it explode and come.
It does actually look like that. It looks like VFX on a documentary where it's like,
It does.
well, here's what happens when it opens. Let's take a look
Yeah.
inside.
Like if I just froze and you
Yeah.
saw that, you'd be like, wait, did something blow up in Vince's apartment? But no, it's just our lamp. Okay, let's go back to the game.
You turn
Let's
me
do it.
around the lamp. You turn me around the lamp. I'm all in.
What do you have for us? Any happy foots or sad foots? Or are you
I
going to ignore
refuse
that
to
as
play
always?
game. That's
Okay.
a hack.
It's not a game. It's
premise.
Did you enjoy our watch along? Did you think we did a
Here's
good
what
job?
else. I mean, outside of LAFC Gold being incomprehensible for how to get in there, it was really nice. I do like that as a podcast with a bunch of guys that aren't that tall, myself included. There's a lot of short jokes on this podcast. There's a lot of going after these little guys. We're not, fellas. Nobody on this podcast is tall enough to be making short jokes. I'll just say that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's
will
open
say that-
season. Like no one can. It's not that bad to be short. It's not that bad. Great to be tall. Like
there's a
Who
lot
cares?
of people on Reddit that would disagree with you, Darren. There's a whole community.
there's a lot of people on
short
Reddit that will
zones.
disagree with you on literally everything, Jeff.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
but not a lot of people get a game created after them. I mean, they should just be proud.
That's true. I mean, Lucio Costa is
stating
probably
facts.
doing okay. He's not having a tough time with women.
Yeah,
He's
he's extremely short though.
He's very.
I was
short.
actually surprised. When I did it and I was like, I'm going to include Ricky Pooch as the first one, I was like, wow, Ricky Pooch is a giant compared to this man.
It's wild. Jeff, what did you come here to say? Why are you here?
What I mostly that lamp stuff, to be honest with you.
Really?
But no, David Martinez. I don't know why David Martinez isn't playing 90 minutes. I think David Martinez is so good. And he's playing so well. And like that goal was great. He's really good going forward. Like this is the last chunk of the season where we're trying to rest guys and give guys some time off. I don't know. All right, Mark Estrada again says, so that's what he looks like. LOL, does not match the voice. Someone's got to explain to me what you guys think. Like Mark Estrada, please put in the comments what you thought I looked like. I would
love an artist's rendering of what Jeff Talk looks like.
I mean,
entirely on audio.
you and this is a compliment. You do have a little bit of a radio talk show host voice, and never, man. You just it's not even like a bad thing. You just always put a face, and it never hits. Like you never get it right.
That's fair.
Interesting.
All right.
That wasn't kind of.
Wait,
he didn't say you had a face for radio. He said you have a voice for radio. So that's as good as it gets, really.
Real question though. What did you think of David Martinez though in the moments towards the end of the first half when LAFC was suffering? Did you feel like he gave them anything defensively, offensively, holding the ball? Because I would say that would be my rebuttal. Is he can do things for you when the game is going well. When you're struggling, when you're suffering, that's when he lacks. And I think that's why it was a good sub in that moment.
Here's what I'll say. I think, I want him to stay in there so that he learns. He's a young guy. I want him to suffer, right? That's how you grow character. That's how you get better. And then B, I still think because he's so good on those counters, he's like a little mini Bouanga in a certain sense, right? Like he's really good coming forward. He's really good with the ball in space. That I would say like on a game where we're playing that far, we're playing everything in our half. I'd rather have him going forward than some of our other wingers. You know what I mean? Like,
but he brought Bouanga. I mean, he has a lot more speed than Bouanga. I mean, they're both pretty good dribblers 1v1, but in terms of like carrying the ball long distances, Bouanga's.
Yeah, listen, this will shock you. I also don't think he's as good as Bouanga, but like I want to get him more minutes. I want to get him more stuff. And the other thing that I find weird about this is we have so many wingers now that we're pushing.
Wait, this is Winger FC. Would you find LAFC having too many wingers a problem?
It's in the logo.
To do that,
you find it weird?
There's not a law. Like we can sign midfield players. That's allowed. You can legally do that.
I don't know. Talk to John Thornton about that one.
Buddy, if you give me his cell phone number, he'll hear from me.
I think it's already been established that Jeff Talk should not be allowed to talk to John Thornton.
I'm gonna yell about LSC Gold, and I'm gonna go after these wingers. And I'm gonna get mad at him.
I do have John Thornton's phone number, but
that's dangerous. That's dangerous. Don't tell me that.
Also, for everyone watching, for the record, I've signed up for LAFC Gold as well, and it's exactly the same as every other website you sign up for. It's just a sign up.
Signing up for LAFC Gold was fine. Finding the video thing impossible. I had to put a thing on Twitter. It was a whole. Listen, I don't want to go after LAFC Gold and say things like it's LAFC mold. That's not what I want to do. You know what I mean? Come on, don't put me in that position.
They sent Darren a bottle of tequila.
Where's my bottle of tequila, man? This guy, Jared's not even really a drinker. I'm the one drinking 1,800 strawberry margarita drinks. I'm paying $21 for that shit every game. I'm putting a lot more money in 1,800's pockets than Darren.
Wow. I mean, they found a way to their target audience, I guess.
Darren thanks you.
I think that might be my favorite drink. Like, if you were to say, like, you're going to die tomorrow, what's the last drink you want to have? I think
1,800 strawberry margarita.
1,800 strawberry.
This is at the stadium. I have not had this, so I will have to do it.
Yeah, it's behind like 213, 214 maybe, like on that top level, like the furthest one, closest to the south end. Really, and there's no line because people, we're a fan base that doesn't appreciate strawberry margaritas that are frozen for some reason. But my favorite.
And it's frozen. Okay,
it's frozen.
Now, you buried the lead.
Yeah. I'm getting old enough that I can now be into tiki drinks, in quotes, rather than just like drinking juice boxes with liquor in them like I did when I was younger. Now it's like a refined kind of ironic thing. Like,
you're at a soccer game and it feels like kind of a resort drink.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah, but that's my oasis, Darren. My oasis is going to LAFC games, drinking one of these.
We haven't talked a ton about this. I think it's always implied, but being at that stadium really is like, it's just a beautiful feeling. It really is just really great being there. So I get it.
Well, yeah, especially Darren, when you go there and they win a trophy, it must be nice.
Last time I was there, they won the U.S. Open Cup final.
They won the trophy.
Yeah,
the oldest trophy, the trophy of trophies, The only trophy that really matters is the U.S. Open Cup final.
Yeah.
They're not the U.S. Open Cup champions because they won the U.S. Open Cup final. Jeff, anything else?
I think I have been harboring the suspicion that I feel like all of this is for next year. That I feel like when Griezmann comes, that you're going to see a couple of other big signings, that they're going to ship some people out, that this is kind of almost like a holding year. And I still feel that way. I still feel like next year's the blowout year, that they'll get Griezmann probably at the same time we got Giroud, somewhere in that window. I'd love to get him before the season starts, but I just don't think he's going to want to do that. Maybe if they're a tire fire over there in Spain, but they're in third, something, right? Like they're playing well enough, and he's playing a lot of minutes, so I don't think he's going to want to leave them halfway through. So it feels like we're going to get Griezmann at that time, and so next season we'll be kind of like waiting on that, and maybe we'll punt the Leagues Cup a little bit more. And I think we still have a puncher's chance at the MLS Cup. You got to beat Messi. There's a lot of really good teams right now, so I don't want to say I think we have the best chance in the world, but it's a good place to be that we got something. We got a trophy. Obviously, the trophy that we all started off before the season saying, if we get this one, this is all we want. And that's the Open Cup
biggest trophy in American history.
Yeah. The Lamar Hunt Open Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it's
huge emphasis on the Hunt part.
Lamar Hunt.
Lamar Hunt.
Yeah, moving into October here.
Yeah. Anyways, so I feels like I feel like it's a lot easier to be a little grumpy if we lose in the playoffs this year, because I do think next year's let's blow it out for CCL, Leagues Cup. We're gonna go for everything. It's gonna be like the firing on all cylinders thing. And I hope that they sell some of these wingers, and I hope that they sell Atuesta. That's my hottest take. That
you got to buy Atuesta to sell him.
He's on loan. but he's on loan for like 8 years, right? So like just trigger the buy clause.
Is that true? He's on loan for 8 years.
He's on loan for like 2 or 3 more years, right?
No,
Vince, he's on loan for a long time.
It's a loan. It's a loan with an obligation to buy.
Okay, so just then trigger the thing. Pay the $25 grand or whatever. Buy it. Sell him to whatever. Yeah, well, I don't know how much can one transfer fee cost? Yeah.
And this economy.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Sell Olivera, sell Bogusz. Let's rotate out. Let's get a DP midfielder. That's my big want. Is I feel like with Martinez, with one of these other guys, you're gonna have enough on the wings that we don't need to sign another DP winger. Mm-hmm. Sign one of these guys that's going to really control that midfield and distribute to our boy Martinez and to a lesser extent Giroud, and let's play, man. I feel like this roster construction is not ideal to win MLS Cup, but we're maybe 2 or 3 moves away from like being actively the favorites over these other teams. And I think John Thornton has the ability to make those moves. You know what I mean? We'll see what comes through.
Well, he's of course no Jeff Talk, so we'll see what he can pull off. But
I was thinking this the other day. Like I'm pretty good at my job, and John Thornton's pretty good at his job. But am I better at my job than John Thornton is at his job? Do you know what I mean? Like would John Thornton have WJ health insurance if he was a writer? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Probably.
But
he's probably going into points. You know what I mean? He's probably dipping into points on the health insurance.
All right, you're way too inside baseball now. No one knows what you're talking about.
That's because Travis. There's no one here to hang up on me, man. I got all the whole world's in front of me. The whole thing.
All right, enjoy it. Anyway, thank you for joining us as always, Jeff Talk. Thank you for cueing me.
Yeah,
helping us out there. Sound off in the chat if you think Jeff Talk could be a better at John Thornton's job than John Thornton can be at Jeff Talk's job, which is right.
Actually, sound off in the chat. Oh, you gave away. I was going to say sound off in the chat.
If you know
guessing what Jeff's job is.
If Jeff Talk's job, if you didn't know that it was writer, what would you have guessed it was?
Yeah, what would you have guessed it was? By his voice. By his voice, not his looks, and then tell us by his looks. So you got 2 pieces of homework.
Okay, we've got another caller waiting. Jacobino Contreras, thank you for joining us. Thank you for waiting. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me. It's always an honor to make it on the show. This is the biggest show in MLS, in my opinion, so it's an honor to be here. I'm just saying.
Oh my God,
I'm just saying.
You can kick us off, Darren, and let him go.
Seriously. Take it.
But I think overall, I really enjoyed this game. I think I got 2 really good happy foots. I think first one for sure is it looked like Kike was bought into the game. I feel like he just really did his job, because I feel like he's not in a position where he's mostly playing, and he just looked like he really wanted to just be on the team and put an effort on there and go forward with it. And I think especially Omar Campos just looked like a new player. He like just came out of Mexico or something, but they kind of might use him, need him actually. But he just looked like a player that was committed to playing defense and just felt like if it was a 1-on-1, I felt like, yeah, he got this now. If this was like 2 months ago, they're like, all right, pray to Jesus. You never know what's going to happen. But this one just felt like he wants it. And it just felt like the first half, it just felt like he really wanted it. And then also, I don't know if it's really a hot take, but it looked like we played better with possession without Bouanga. I don't know if it's because it just looked like the team just played really well, and they felt like, all right, we don't have a scapegoat, or not a scapegoat, like an escape. All right, pass to Bouanga. It's just like, all right, let's play as a team, and let's see what we can do with it. And I just felt like they played really, really well with. Now, I don't want to say without him because he's our best player.
Oh, that's a dangerously intriguing take.
It just felt like it looked good without him.
Possession is only one part of the game, right? And the way that you have possession, I agree with. I think I agree with you because the connections, the link ups, the passing was, and that's what we think of when we think of possession. I think everyone thinks of passing and that type of thing. He's more of a direct player, right? So he gets on the ball and he's like, what's the fastest way I can get to goal? And his decision making hasn't always been the best. U.S. Open Cup. I mean, we won that game, but other than his pass to Kai Kamara for the goal, very rough game for him. But you know what I really love, and you're spot on both your points. I really love your point about Olivera, and it's something that we don't always talk about. Is like you can look at a guy and say, I think he'd be good in this position. Good luck telling these guys that have played and they're like goal scorers, like, hey, you're going to play wing back today. It can always go wrong. Like, and you wouldn't know, like he could just have a bad game. And then you could say, okay, Steve's an idiot. He shouldn't have put that guy there. Or it could be, but Olivera was like, I don't want to play here. But to your point, he was bought in. He played the position well. He gave his all on both sides of the ball. He knew his role. I think that's a big point. And I think it's credit to both the coaching staff and to Olivera. I don't want to like say that it's all the coaching staff. Olivera bought himself in and he really got into it. Look, I've always liked this player. I think a lot of people have been hit or miss with him, but the one thing I don't think you can ever knock him on is his commitment. Like he tries. And this was another moment where it wasn't just trying, it was being bought in. So really good point. I think that's something, again, you can't understate is like, tell a guy to play in a position he doesn't want to play in. Like no one wants to look stupid, right? So he goes out there and but he's like, I'm willing to do this. And for him, I don't think it raises like his value on the market per se, but he bought in for the team. So really good point.
Yeah. And I think overall, it just looked like the team wanted. It just felt like the team wanted this one a lot more than Cincinnati, especially just like what's the British guy's name? I forget his name. He had a good link up. Elisa Bryan, I feel like he's an amazing player in my opinion. It feels like he's like a bulldog. He just always wants to attack, get the first player, and he's really good at the link ups in my opinion. But I like where the team's going. It just felt like they played with heart in my opinion. It felt really good to see that, especially after playing 120 minutes just less than a week ago. It just felt like they just really want to climb the standings and just for sure get the home field advantage, at least second place. But it just felt like they did really well, just wanting it more.
I think that's a great point. There have been a lot of games where we kind of don't know. This is definitely one of them where you kind of don't know how they're going to show up and what version of the team you're going to get. And I think part of what's been so disappointing about the recent run is that it's just like, not only did they lose or they tied or whatever, but you're just like, this just isn't them. Like they didn't show up, and they really did today. And I think it was just like very comforting for where we're at right now. Like you can't understate.
Given you would have given him the night off too, right? Like to be fair,
it's just like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah, only because of the result.
I didn't want it, but fine. Yeah, and it's just like given the skid to follow up a U.S. Open Cup final win with like beating a strong team from the Eastern Conference at their stadium. Like all we've needed for so long now is more confidence, and like here we are. I don't think I really expected it.
And one last thing, because I gotta go. But I have to say, I'm a little person. Lucho Acosta looks really short on camera. Like I feel like I can post up on him. Like I'm 4'3". I feel like I can dunk on him if I really wanted to. And it just feels like I was like, wow, maybe I'm not that short looking at him. So I felt really good. Because
you might have an MLS. Yeah, you might have an MLS career in your future, an MVP career in your future.
That's true.
Let's do this.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank
Come
you
back
guys.
soon. I think, if you're short, you can make fun of short people. If you're being made fun of for being short, you're fine.
Yeah, you embrace it. I just love his points. I
Yeah,
can't.
you make great points. Great caller.
Well, no, I can't emphasize enough because that's all. Like I was thinking the other day, like what is my POV? Like what's my MO from trying to be like a soccer person or personality? And it's like I just want to open up your eyes to like we watch this game, but it's only like 1/7 of the week for these guys, right? Or even smaller. It's 90 minutes out of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's little things that go into it. And look, we're not going to always get it right because we're never going to know everything. We're not going there, I'm not a super insider. I'm not there every day. I can kind of tell you how I understand the game from having been an insider and having seen what players are like. And that's just a really great point. Not all players want to be told to play a different position. And they can go out there and they can go through the motions and you can say like, oh, I guess they tried, but they didn't really try. And to his point was like, he was bought in. Like he was there. He was hustling. He was in it. And he doesn't factor into anything. He didn't factor into the first goal. Didn't have anything to do with the second goal. I think he had come out by that point. But I would say, other than Omar Campos, one of the star performers of the night.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was just really, he was there. He was an outlet. He was pretty good. I mean, I think the one bad one was the one time where he got loose and he got that shot and it was pretty tame. Right. And I talked about it, how like you want to hit a shot where like it goes either in the back of the net or it goes out of play and you can reset from there. But like, look at that moment.
And of those two, we want the goal, right?
Yeah. I mean, usually.
Yeah, we want the goal. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going.
Yeah. Usually. So yeah, I think that's a really good point to point out. Just like different position, did well. And not just a different position in terms of like, oh, sometimes you play center forward and like you're Bogusz. Bogusz is like, hey, sometimes you're going to play a winger or sometimes you're going to be the 9 or sometimes you're going to be an attacking midfielder. Those are all positions where he's like, I can interpret those about the same. I'm attacking. I want to get forward. This is like, hey, man, you're going to have to defend a lot. Your day is not going to be great and it's going to be away from home. Yeah. And he did it. So I can't commend him enough for putting in a shift. And like I said, I don't think that was anything we ever had a knock on him for. You can say that like he wouldn't perform, he wouldn't score, he didn't have end product, but the guy has always tried. And I think that's a big point.
Yeah, it's a great point that it's not uncommon to see guys who are not doing exactly what they want to be doing for the team. And you can see them playing in a way that's like they're playing rhetorically almost. They're like making the argument that they're not where they belong. And it's like, or you could just play well. Which I think is a good segue into this comment from Joel San. Interesting starting 11 today. We did cover this on the watch along, but we haven't talked about
we knew there'd be rotation
too much here. We knew there would be rotation, but we didn't know it would be this rotation. Not this necessarily this much, but this type. And it's interesting to see, especially in the context of the victory and what felt like a good performance from Dolo. Like, looking in hindsight now, what do you think of that?
I think the best way to look at it is to break it down by roles. So obviously, Lloris, don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Even the back three, we don't necessarily have to talk.
Great game from Lloris again.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to talk about the back three so much in terms of their roles and what he put in. I mean, yes, Sergi being in the back three is kind of weird, but he did do it in the game before. And generally speaking, the way they play back three is they want like the outside members of the back three, the Eddie Segura and Sergio Palencia and that to be aggressive. And Sergi can be aggressive. He can get forward. You want them to be they want them to be able to pass a little bit, and they can. So then you start to look at the midfield and you say like Ilie, O'Brien. Okay, well, Ilie is a little more defensive. O'Brien's going to be a little bit more going forward. Okay, that kind of fits. And then you get a Campos and you say, yeah, he can play wing back. Can Olivera do it? Well, you look at him and you say he can do the role because he's got speed, he's got energy, he's got a motor. Like he can play, he can move up and down the field for the full 90 minutes. But then also they were great. Like it's not like you can just say it, right? Like they are great. And then you look at the front line, you see Martinez and Bogusz, and it makes sense that you have Martinez and Bogusz in that moment because you have Olivera and you have Campos who are going to be guys that are going to stay wide at the touch lines. And you have those guys who are not going to be in their way. Like basically those guys had free runs to go ahead of the ball. Sometimes you get guys that are like, you get forwards that are wide, and then your wing backs can't go in that area because that forward's either already in that space or they're in that space with a defender on top of it. So it really fit, like the balance was there. And I think that's what we saw. I think that's why the team was able to play in a way we were surprised about. Is Steve balanced the team where he was like, don't do anything different than what you already do, but you're going to be in a slightly different position. So Olivera, run straight line, go wide. Campos, go wide. Maddie, Martinez, come inside, link up with people, link up with Kai, and link up with O'Brien. And I think it just all fit. Like they really got the balance right, and that's based on knowing their team and the roles. But
yeah,
it's still a gamble.
Hard for that to be. Would you expect that to be as good of a fit as it was, more so for the matchup or the personnel? Does that?
I think it's just
a risk. Question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I look at it and I say like, and I can say this now in hindsight, but also even just if we're looking at it on paper, I'm like, on paper, this works. Doesn't mean it's going to work in real life. And I think what you got was
it works more for who it works because of who we have to put out there, or it works because of who we're facing.
Yeah, because I think the game at the end of the day, even if you're facing somebody, if you do well in your roles and you fill your positions, you will give teams trouble. Right, so that is my theory on the game. People don't always see the game that way. There's a lot of coaches that feel like you change for every single opponent. You do this. I think Steve tweaks for opponents, but doesn't change drastically for opponents.
So what seemed like a very unique lineup wasn't about the way that we saw Cincinnati playing. It was about like the game we wanted to play.
It was about what was available for LAFC and what was going to help LAFC play at their best level versus they weren't trying to stifle. I think we thought they would go into Kansas City and be like, let's just stifle them and let's see if we can get a 0-0. But I think they went into it being like, no, realistically, let's roll some guys out there. We like the balance of this team. And if they play to their abilities and they play the way we think they're going to play, then we can do some things. And they were right. Like, that's kind of what coaching is, right? You got to look at a game, you got to lay out a plan and hope it goes to plan. And when it doesn't, then you make changes. But like, they have to read a game ahead of time. They have to get it's chess. They have to guess ahead of time.
And I think that this does happen often, but I think that players who aren't normally necessarily starters and players not playing in their normal positions playing well made the starters play better than they would have otherwise played when they came in. Like that feels like a jolt of like, okay, they did their job. You're already supposed to be doing your job. You better go in there and finish.
Absolutely.
They were like, and they certainly did.
They set the table. They were like, you set the table for us. Thank you. This is nice.
Can you imagine like the starters going in and wasting that?
I could. I mean, it could happen, but
it's happened. So yeah, that's a responsibility,
nice.
You know?
Yeah, it was nice to see them because look, at that moment, they could come in and Bouanga's like, okay, you want me to dribble, get forward, and move the team forward. I can do that, right? Like they could. There's a very real world where Bouanga's coming in and being like, "You need me to do what? I don't want to do that." Or not that he doesn't want to do it. He's like, "I can't do that." You know what I mean? So like it was all in front of them. And to Joel's point, yeah, I know you brought it up. Is that opening up other roles? I mean, I think Vela can play a similar role to what Martinez did. This formation is dynamic in the sense where like it allows them to deal with the personnel who's playing well at the time. I don't think it changes the way LAFC plays. You're still going to have wingers that are supposed to be dangerous, goal dangerous, come inside. They can go wide at times, but they're mostly going to come inside. And to that point, yeah, I think the 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, like it fits LAFC. Like they can figure this out.
Yeah, it's nice to see them feeling a little more versatile than we thought at this point.
Yeah.
Late breaking news from Luke.
That means it keeps us in second.
From LAFC Luke, Austin just tied RSL in the 90th minute.
That would keep us in second.
Joel San says ATX was down 2-0. I thought they had given up. Wow. Look, you don't have to go and watch the game. You can just get updates here. You can keep watching.
We'll give you the updates. That would keep us in second with a game in hand.
Second with a game in hand. That sounds good. Supporter Shield mathematically out yet?
That
Probably at this point.
yeah. I mean, so Miami has 65 points with one more game played. We have 52. That's just
Wow, I can't believe you're even humoring me on this.
yeah. The most points we can get is no. The most points we can get is 64. It's over.
All right, I'll accept it. I'll be the first to accept it as soon as the math says so.
No,
That's fine.
I just told you the math says so.
Okay, well, as soon as the math does say so, I'll be the first in line to say that makes sense and I get it. Okay, so that's fine. I'll be right there. So I think we missed a super chat. Daniel, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Thank you
sorry.
so much for your super chat. I think it was during a caller.
Carpenter by trade.
His guess, a guess at Jeff Talk's profession, which we did prompt. Thank you for everyone who
I'm gonna
submitted.
guess he has the softest hands.
Yeah, he says his guess is Talk is a carpenter by trade, blue collar. Maybe the most flattering guess that went out there.
I think he would take
he's
that.
probably the inverse, right? He's probably the opposite.
Yeah. Never seen a hard day of work in his life.
Probably very moisturized hands.
Not that we have. Not that either you or I have.
No. I'm spent many hours today sitting in this chair. So yeah. Anyway. Well, I mean, what a roller coaster as usual, I guess, this season is turning out to be.
Mm-hmm.
We've now got Vela coming in at some point. We've got
maybe
good momentum building. We've got playoffs coming up. It looks like things are working out on the table pretty well. Again, I mentioned this on the watch along, but like if we're in really good form coming into the playoffs, I don't know that I care too much about what seed we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel pretty good about any opponent in the West, in at home or away, really. Like if we're in good form, like us at our best,
right?
We just beat Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's set up now. Obviously, the first round. I mean, we could still get top, and I think are we out of the first round? I feel they keep changing it around. The first round we play, it doesn't matter. You have to play like a home and away because it's the first to like 2 wins, right? So it's a 3-game series. So I feel good about us there. If we have to go on the road after that first round, I feel pretty good, especially I know that we would say like, okay, well, this team's not very good on the road, but in the playoffs and in the time when like you want to try to win it at home in regulation, our team playing in this like 3-4-3 where we can sit deep and hit teams on the counter, I feel good about it. I mean, they did it last year. I feel like they're even better at it this year. I feel good about it. It's when you get to the final game where always all bets are off, right? But let's get there. And I feel, the talent of this team is still the best in the West. Debatable whether it is in the whole of MLS, but it's the best in the West. So I think as long as they go into it injury free, guys not tired, that I don't worry about I really don't worry about playing anyone aside from the Galaxy. And I don't worry. It's not that I worry about playing them. It's just that's a toss up. It's always a toss up.
Well, and I think what tonight showed, I kind of mentioned it before, but it's just like either we show up or we don't. If we show up as ourselves, as our best selves, like that's what we need to win in the first place. And if we don't, then like it also doesn't matter who we're playing in the other direction. Like we can lose any game also if we don't show up. So I'm not looking for the situation where we can win and not show up. Like I don't know that there's too many situations where that's really relevant.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately, the Galaxy are the only team on the road because, again, that's just such a toss-up. Colorado, I guess Colorado has that extra advantage of being at altitude.
Yeah.
We haven't done so well at RSL lately, but I've been saying it all season. Like, I still feel like they're going to come back to like the mean.
I mean, it was a week ago. A week ago, we were talking about a very different team.
Yeah.
This is pretty wild.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are the ebbs and what are the flows? Flows? Peaks?
I mean,
what are the valleys?
I will just say this for people that are like trying to figure it out. It's probably going to change again over the next couple of weeks heading into because it's just MLS. Like, but also it is just a lot of it is teams like they're playing for their playoff lives. So that's a different level of playing than middle of the season. You can say whether you love that or not. It is what it is. Whether you love it or not, it is what it is. So, yeah, tight. Luke, Jesse, tight table. It's going to be a tight table.
There's someone in the people in the chat saying tight table because it's a tight table. Somehow we've made it back to tight table status.
Well, right now it's Galaxy at 58, us at 52, Salt Lake at 52, Colorado at 50, Houston at 48. I won't keep going.
That's a 2-2 draw for us in RSL.
Yeah, second in the West, baby.
In second place. The table is tight. It's
table
a tight table.
Tight table.
The table is tight.
We need a tight tape. We need tight table merchandise. I don't think it'll sell, but
we should. Yeah, I have tried to visualize that on a few occasions.
I don't know how to do it.
It's hard to do.
I think it should just say it's a tight table and nothing else.
Just it's a tight table.
No soccer ball, no anything. Just straight lettering so people can walk around and it just says it's a tight table.
Yeah, I'll make it. Let's do the shirt. Hey, anyone else on the table have a U.S. Open Cup championship that you can think of? I'm trying to think of any other teams.
That's the way it works, bud. There's
just one team, right? It's just us.
It's like Highlander. There could be only one.
That's true.
Anytime I can bring a Highlander reference in.
Anytime.
I haven't seen it in a long time. Maybe I should watch it again.
I actually never saw it.
There.
Uh-oh. There can only be one person.
Even just ironically, you watch it ironically.
I don't know. I don't know.
Darren, can I tell you, I'm tired. We did a lot today.
I was just about to say, I think we've covered a lot. I'm trying to think. I want to make sure that everyone who deserves flowers for tonight's match got them. Lloris,
Campos.
Bouanga. I mean, Bouanga literally flipped a switch and the ball was in the back of the net. That was insane. Yep. That beautiful. I don't know that we've spent enough time on the post game on this. The beautiful French Connection, LA. French Connection goal.
French Connection, great movie. You've seen French Connection at least.
I don't know. Sure, maybe. At some point, it's a classic.
With Gene Hackman, yeah, it's incredible. I love like gritty detective movies. So
yeah, me too.
French Connection. Well, then you would love French Connection.
What's the other Gene Hackman like 70s detective movie that I'm thinking of, where he's like wearing a wire and then he ends up digging up his whole house? The whole is really good. I forget it. Anyway, there's another old Gene Hackman movie that's similar to that is not that is really good. That was an amazing play. I want to see more of that all the time.
Yeah,
that was incredible.
Oh, here's one more thing that we didn't know about because we didn't know about it, but Darren's brought it up. Steve's 50th win.
Steve's 50th win, and I think until this was the game where they officially clinched the playoffs.
That too.
It was almost 50 minutes into the live stream before we mentioned that.
I'm just picking things down. Oh, was it Mooseport? Is that the movie?
Oh, nope. Not it.
Oh, wait.
See if you can guess the movie that I'm thinking of. The Conversation, yes. Ryan Olsen, thank you. Incredible movie. If French Connection is better than The Conversation, I'm in.
I have not seen The Conversation, so I have to watch that, and you have to watch French Connection.
Great deal. You've got a deal.
French Connection is a great movie.
Next show, we will reconvene.
There's car chases, too, in French Connection. Is there that?
I think I can definitively say I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Let's do it. You watch The Conversation. I'll watch The French Connection. We will find which is the superior Gene Hackman.
And then we'll bring it up in the next episode, and Travis will go, "What are you guys talking about?" And he'll have missed.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. We are going to sign off soon because we're tired. But go watch Saturday Night Live tonight because Travis is there. You won't see him on there, but Gene Smart, who
really has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, he really has nothing to do with it, but he's there. And
it's his moral support that will carry the show if the show is good, and if the show is bad, he does have nothing to do with it.
The Hacks on Max crew is there. They're supporting Gene Smart, who deservedly won and is very funny. So it'll be good.
As far as SNL hosts go, I mean, that's as good of an SNL host as I can think of in a long, long time. That's amazing.
She should be good, and this is the season premiere, so
50th anniversary.
Yeah, 50th season. Saturday Night Live.
We are inching toward the 50th anniversary of Happy Foot, Sad Foot. We've been around for so long. We've grown the game for so many years, so many decades at this point. HaFoSafo Film Festival in off season. I'm in.
I'm down.
Is
I need
LA,
more.
Is the LA
Anyone
area
can recommend
like,
movies to watch. I'm in for
is
it.
the LA area like? Are there a lot of people that are into movies?
Hacks
or-
on Hacks. Hacks is, if you haven't seen Hacks, legitimately I watched it before I even knew about it for this show.
Oh my goodness! A late breaking at the death.
Oh, Alberto,
A super chat. Thank you so much. He says, "Have you guys seen the new documentary with Will Ferrell and his friend on a road trip?" I actually plan on watching it tonight.
Yeah, I knew that it was coming. I have not watched it yet, but I knew that it was coming, and I think it's an awesome idea, and I'm really excited to see it.
Yes. Yes. Also,
Also, I watch SNL the next day because I'm old. And
Hulu, on demand. I gotta go.
And Hulu has it. And Hulu has it on demand.
I gotta go. Oh yes, thank you, Scott.
Will and Harper.
The name of the movie we should say out loud is Will and Harper. Everybody go watch it. Boy, oh boy,
we won.
What a great
you
win.
And I did not think we'd be sitting here
win.
Exhausted, thinking we'd be like, "Hey,
we should say it again." The HaFoSafo Watchalong Curse is fully broken. All right, that'll do it. We see KC again next. Is that right?
No, is it KC? I thought it was St. Louis. St.
Louis and then KC.
St. Louis at home, and I think that's the second to last home game.
And they face each other tonight.
And it did not go well for KC.
Oh, KC's. We just handed our skid off to them.
Yep.
We were in the trenches and we were like, "Here, take these trenches.
Take this.
We don't need this anymore."
Yeah.
We've got an upswing to take care of. All right, let's do it. St. Louis City.
Yeah.
City.
City.
I love you. Bye.
Yeah.